Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dorian Show. Dude, I've been gone for a couple weeks, man. I don't know what's going on, dude. I don't know if I'm sick or I just have allergies, but like, my throat hurts. I'm fat. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I should just hop on and talk about everything that's going on recently with the World Cup and the New York Knicks and is sports back? Like I think sports might be back. I just got this. If you're just watching this online, I just got this fake Team USA jersey, soccer jersey, and it came the day after we got crushed by the Belgians. And I gotta say, dude, we all if you watched the World Cup and you were rooting for the U.S. You know, most of us were, they're Americans, but I know some of you guys weren't, and we call those traitors. Dude, if you got sucked into this whole World Cup thing, like you were a victim of marketing, and I sure was too, dude. You know what I mean? Leading up to this, everybody's like, "Oh, this is the best team we've ever had. Christian Pulisic is back. We got a young team. We got the best coach in the world. We're gonna make it far. We're gonna make it at least to the quarterfinals." And then you see all these like commercials from like Nike, all these like Gatorade commercials with like Christian Pulisic, and they're like, "Why not us? Why not us?" And I think collectively as a country, we all kind of drank the Kool-Aid, right? And then we were served a giant piece of humble pie when we ran into Belgium, and damn, did that hurt, dude! I don't remember ever being like so invested in sports in such a long time. And I actually put money into like the stocks of the New York Knicks, right? I have like thousands of dollars invested in the New York Knicks, and I don't even get hurt when they lose the game, right? I'm not like invested as much as I am with the World Cup. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of invested with the WNBA because I bought season tickets to the LA Sparks, but like I'm not crushed when they suck, and they have been sucking recently. But for some reason, I'm tuned in every U.S. game during the qualifiers and the first game against Bosnia. Like I was glued to the TV. I was glued to the TV. I was rooting for the U.S. like crazy. I was on pins and needles, and I understand a little bit of how like true soccer fans feel across the globe. Because the sport kind of sucks, right? To be honest, when Portugal played against Spain, probably one of the two top teams in the world, dude, that game was so fucking boring. I was like falling asleep until the end when Portugal or Spain, excuse me, scored a goal. Before that, I was like, dude, this is so slow. It's just like people passing the ball back and forth. I'm like falling asleep, dude. I think the games are too long. To be honest, I don't think they should go to overtime. Overtime, like I dread it when I see a team's 0-0 going to overtime. I'm like, skip the overtime. Just start kicking off, dude. You know what I mean? Like if you can't score in 90 minutes, like I don't want to give you another 45 minutes or 30 minutes. 30 minutes to try to get a goal. Just go to penalty kicks, dude. But yeah, I the World Cup is brutal, dude. I think so much of it is like your country pride, and I guess I don't know about other countries. I mean, I guess it sucks for like other countries when they lose too. Like you see like these dramatic like responses when like a team loses. You know what I mean? Like Egypt was upset at Argentina, right? You know what I mean? They're like they're racist or whatever. They're cheating. Which I don't know, but there's so much at stake because there's so much national pride. You know what I mean? Paraguay was saying some nasty stuff about France, or some politician was saying some nasty stuff about Mbappe. It's just crazy, and I feel it. I feel as a U.S. citizen, dude, it was tough seeing. It's tough. I think it's extra tough to be like America and see that you guys and we suck at something, right? You know what I mean? Just to get destroyed by Belgium in such a fashion where we didn't even like put up a fight. It was so sad. I don't know. I people were saying like, is this a failure? Is this a failure for Team USA or is this a success? And I feel like it's a failure, but it's there's a lot of pressure put on the U.S. team. You know what I mean? Because most Americans don't watch any soccer for 4 years, and then we get like super hyped during the World Cup. You know what I mean? And like the only time they could prove themselves are in like knockout games in in the World Cup. Like I've never heard of any of these players outside of Christian Pulisic. I've heard of what's his name, Gio Reyna. I've heard of him just from the past, but I don't know anybody else. You know what I mean? Like what's his name, Flo Balogun? Like that guy's a fucking star now. I didn't know who he was until he stepped foot on uh, on the big stage of his life. So it's kind of hard. Like we don't know what true progress is because most people don't watch soccer in the USA. Like they don't follow Christian Pulisic when he's like killing it in the international leagues. We're not watching the MLS, which is American soccer. You know what I mean? Like we only tune in and we put up like all this pressure on the team every 4 years, and like you basically can't lose the game. Like you go through the qualifiers and you really can't lose those games either because you don't want to get seeded against like a top team like Spain in the first round. You know what I mean? So what happens year after year is like we get to the round of 16, which is where the U.S.'s skill level is at, and then we never get past that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a success or not. It doesn't really matter. I was pumped, dude. I was like, after the World Cup, I'm gonna follow the MLS, dude. I'm gonna be a huge soccer fan. This is me every 4 years, by the way. But like the minute the U.S. lost, I was like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't care about soccer. Soccer's lame. I'm gonna go watch UFC and women's basketball. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the U.S. will ever be good in soccer. It's kind of crazy. I like did so much research. I did so much research during the World Cup about soccer because now I'm like interested in the sport, and U.S. soccer is just doomed in the United States, right? Number one, like it's like the one of the lower tier sports, right? Most kids want to go play in the NFL, or they want to go play in the NBA, or they want to play baseball. And then like some kids want to play hockey. And then after that, it's like, let's play soccer. You know what I mean? And apparently the price to get into soccer as a little kid is so expensive. It's both expensive and you really have to be good when you're young, which is like an insane kind of thing, right? Because in like at least I don't follow baseball that much, but at least in basketball and football, like the kids kind of move up in the ranks. Sure, they play in club teams, like the really good kids are playing club teams, but like you kind of go through the motion of like high school, right? If you're like the best player in your high school team, you take your team really far to all state and then like the national championship or whatever, and then you go, and if you're really good, you get recruited to a top tier college. That's where people get the buzz, and then you go pro. But in soccer, it's like you're pretty much doomed if you're not a pro at like 14, which is insane. A lot of people don't even pick up basketball until like that age, and then they still able to develop into like these monsters, right? Like I know a lot of people that didn't play basketball until, this is me personally, I knew a lot of people that didn't play basketball until like high school, and they're like really good. They're not pro good, but they're like very good basketball players on the court. But that's different for soccer. Like you have to be in Europe. Like these kids are getting signed to be on a professional team at like 14. You know what I mean? We just don't have that in the United States. Like, you know what I mean? That means like kids have to be like really good when they're really young, and that's the other thing too. Like it costs so much money. People were saying like it costs like $5,000 for like a child to play for a club team when they're little, when they're like 6 or 7 to 10. Which is a lot of money, and this is for like in the Midwest. Can you imagine how much that would be in California or in New York? Like, are you telling me it's going to cost like over $10,000 to send your kids to go play soccer? It's just crazy, dude. Part of me here's the thing though, like we only really care about soccer every 4 years, like. Like, we don't really care if, like, the MLS players aren't as good. Well, we're not in the World Cup. But once we're in the World Cup, we're like, we need to kill it. but we can't because we don't develop. And I don't even know if there's a way around it. Like a lot of people say, like U.S. soccer will never be good until they start doing promotion and relegation. And I'm like, I don't know if that will work, dude. That's how we've tried that in the past. Like past soccer teams have tried that and they just bankrupt. You know what I mean? Like they overspend to get players and then they just can't afford it. Most European teams are not even profitable. Like they don't have a salary cap over there, so basically you could sign whoever you want as long as you're willing to pay. And like a lot of these top teams, I think like Real Madrid, like was like losing so much money they were close to being bankrupt. They're like one of the best teams in like the world. You know what I mean? So I don't even know if that's helpful either. It's just that no one cares about soccer in the United States, whereas soccer is like the top sport in Latin America, is the top sport in Europe. You know what I mean? They all got their own leagues, but everybody's like tuned in to watch the local soccer players play. I don't know, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna go on with soccer. I mean, I live in LA. There are two MLS teams, but I feel like it's not. It doesn't have that like local feeling. There's the USL League, which is like a lower division league, and I've been wanting to go see like an Oakland game, the Oakland Roots, because it sounds like it's like community based. It's not very expensive to go to the games, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the MLS. Maybe I'll go to one of these games, but highly unlikely when I'm already falling asleep. But yeah, that was it, dude. I don't know if soccer is gonna make it, but it has been a crazy couple of months about in regards to sports, right? We got the World Cup, we got the New York Knicks winning a championship, which was very cool. And for the NBA, I gotta admit, it matters when the big teams make the championship. You know, teams from the big markets, because the prior 10 years, I think there's like a different champion every year before the Knicks won, and I gotta be honest with you, like I didn't care about any of those championships. Like I didn't care about who won. I didn't care about Boston winning. I know a lot of people from Boston do, but I wasn't really caring about Boston or Denver or the Thunder winning a championship. Like I didn't care. I didn't tune in, but when it was the Knicks and you have all this history with the basketball and they haven't won in like 50 years or whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, they're the underdog. Like I really want the Knicks to win. And it was just like all this stuff like just really pushed the excitement for the country. And I think the Knicks winning is probably one of the best things that ever happened to the NBA in a long time. But the NBA, and then I'm like quickly reminded of why like the NBA sucks. Like the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden you have all these trades and all these like players are going all over the country of different teams, and I'm like, I can't even keep up. Like I can't keep up with all these player movements, and I don't care. Like this is the reason why like people don't care about the NBA as much. You know what I mean? Like you'll have a star player for a team, or you have like a role player, but he's like a fan favorite. And then every year you just trade them as you're building up this like fan base. You just trade people's like favorite player. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't even care. Like now I'm just like, dude, the NBA sucks again. I don't care. But yeah, I don't know how to fix that problem with the NBA. You know what I mean? Like I believe in player movement. I think each player should be able to go play wherever they want. Right? Have the reasons for moving. If it's for money, if it's for championships. But I don't know. I don't know how to balance that. And just like the league kind of sucks when everybody's just moving around all the time. But yeah, it's I mean, it's been we'll see if sports is good. Like it was a good 2 months, and everything kind of just like kind of petered out. You know what I mean? Like it was the hype when the Knicks won, but after that, I was like, I don't care anymore. They're trading everybody. Everybody's moving different teams. The Olympics, not the Olympics, the World Cup was crazy, right? I was tuning into every game. I was watching other games. I was like, oh man, if they like upset here, the U.S. might play them in the future, and we could beat that team, but we can't beat that team. And now, once the U.S. is out, I was like, well, I don't give a fuck. I'm not watching any of the games. I don't care. So, I don't know. Sports, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the U.S. is like the soccer thing. It's like their own thing. I don't know how they're gonna fix it, but like I think a lot of sports in the United States are kind of just like self-owning themselves. You know what I mean? Like the NBA, the product is just not as good. Like the players have never been better. By the way, like this, like people always argue like, "Oh, my generation is better." No, it's clearly the generation now. The players are way better than before. Like the players today are way better than like Tracy McGrady and Kobe. I hate to say it, and then Kobe and Tracy McGrady them are like way better than the people in the Jordan days. But the product itself has been worse, you know. And they just like self-own for no reason. And the same thing for the WNBA. And I know a lot of people don't watch it. I'm kind of rambling. A lot of you guys probably won't even make it this far, but the WNBA is like actively trying to destroy itself. It's crazy. It's crazy how much the league as a whole, the players, the teams, the owners, the coaches, it's crazy how much they hate Caitlin Clark. And you're like, well, they don't hate him. That's just all like noise. I'm like, dude, they fucking hate her, dude. They did the All-Star rankings, and amongst the players, they rated Caitlin Clark amongst point guards to be the 11th best point guard in the league. The 11th best point guard. Like that's insane. Like I can't even name. She was 11, and Kelsey Plummer was ranked 12. Which was insane because those two players are basically the two best point guards, arguably, in the WNBA. Like their numbers prove it. They should be two, if not top three, dude. Like it's not realistic that they're not even in the top 10. That's just haters. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. It's crazy, dude. I mean, arguably the best player I think that are better than both of them is Olivia Miles, but that's because I'm like tuned into the game of women's basketball. So if Olivia Miles was number one and then they were 2 and 3, I would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like you guys know ball, but if Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Plum are 11 and 12, dude, I don't know. They're trying to like dim the greatness of Caitlin Clark for whatever reason. She's the reason why the WNBA, dude, they hit the lottery. Okay, Caitlin Clark blew up 2 years ago, 4 years, 4 years ago in the college NCAA tournament. She became a superstar overnight. She became the biggest, most popular athlete in the country of like all sports, by the way. A girl playing basketball. Unheard of. This is coming from a country where people are like, man, you gotta support women's sport. And all of a sudden, this is like natural, right? Like organically, people were supporting Caitlin Clark because she was like a huge superstar. She comes to the league, and like within a few years, the WNBA got to renegotiate their contracts. And because of Caitlin Clark and the viewers that she brought over from college to the WNBA, the players made a shit ton of money, dude. They went from making like $80,000 to like some of these players are making over $1 million, which is like a huge jump, right? So if I was a player in the WNBA and I was like, it doesn't mean that. Let's say I was like a really good all-star, but like no one ever watched me, so I was like very good, and only the people within the league knows like I'm one of the top players in the WNBA, and all of a sudden Caitlin Clark came here and she blows up, and I feel like, hey, I should get some of this recognition too. I mean, I get you would feel that way, but like the recognition on Caitlin Clark actually helps the whole league. Like I went from making $80,000 a year and having to go play in Russia during the off season just to put food on the table, but all of a sudden this girl, Caitlin Clark, came here. She didn't disrespect any of the players. She just came here and brought like millions of dollars to me, and I'll be like, yeah, dude, keep pushing her. I want more money. But they don't do that. They don't even put her in advertising. It's crazy. They have like a 30-year poster, and they're like left her out of the stuff. I'm like, why are you doing this? It's crazy. It's crazy how I feel like the system in the U.S. have it so good that they're like, yeah, let's. It's so good here. We rather tamp it down. We rather hurt each other or hurt ourselves than to give someone else their shine. You know what I mean? Like it's very like collectivist. Like every time I hear about news in the WNBA, it's like every time someone try to bring up Caitlin Clark, like even her coach would be like trying to downplay her and then praise a different player on her team. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Could you imagine if like Michael Jordan was playing today and people were like love Michael Jordan, but then like Phil Jackson's like, whoa, wait, it's fucking Steve Kerr here. He played really well. He was the key to us winning. Like that would be insane that they're doing that. It's insane. I don't know what they're doing, dude. Honestly, it's all this stuff. Like all this, it comes back to this collective culture, dude. I hate to talk about this, but you know what I mean. Like it's this collective culture that I think is kind of like blossom out of fucking millennials, like people like me. And I hate to talk about politics, but I also love it, I guess. Like, why are we still having like these same conversations, right? They want the WNBA. They want to treat it like socialism, right? And I know this is a stretch. Bear with me. I'm rambling. I have no idea what's going on. My windows are all closed. I'm ranting for 20 minutes. But this is how the WA want it. They're like, it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about all of us. But the free market is like, no, it's Caitlin Clark. And because we love Caitlin Clark so much, we're going to tune in to watch the games and we're going to learn about new players. And we're going to give you a bunch of money because we want to watch Caitlin Clark. And they're like, no, 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 no. It's unfair. She's getting too much unfair attention. We need to bring everybody up by bringing her down. Sounds like a political party that we know, don't we? Huh? Socialists. I don't know. I think like the millennials have never. Millennials, by the way, who I am, which we're old as hell now, dude. We're like late 30s, early 40s. Like we never outgrew like socialism. You know what I mean? Like socialism is making a comeback now. Mom Domney and all these people in Colorado and New York, they're just winning elections left and right. And when they go through like, when they do like voting, what are those called? Like the post-vote interviews. Like basically they find out the majority of the people who voted for these people are like college-educated millennials. Like we never outgrew it. Like I just had a conversation the other day with my friend. He's like fucking deep in his 40s. He's still arguing about socialism. I was like, dude, why are we still talking about socialism as like an option, dude? Like they've shown over and over and over again to have failed. You know what I mean? Every time socialists take over a country, hundreds of millions of people died. Soviet Union, China, Cuba, the big three, or more recently, Venezuela. People just end up starving, dude. And they're like, no, we need that here. We need that here. And they don't even know like what true socialism is, right? Like here's the crazy thing. A lot of immigrants that come here first, second generation, they are terrified when you say socialist or communist to them because they know what it is, right? When you tell an immigrant like, hey, you want to be a socialist, you know who they think of? They think of Venezuela, they think of Cuba, they think of China, they think of Vietnam. That shit is terrifying. But like for Americans here that are like well educated, when they think of socialism, they're like, oh, what about Norway? This is what my friend brought me. He's just, I don't know if he was like trying to troll me, but he was, dude, this guy, I'm old, dude. I'm almost 40. This guy's deep in his 40s. He was just like, he said, why can't we be in Norway? He like sent this graphic about Norway and how they were so much better than us. I'm like, number one, like just do a little research. Norway is not socialist, okay? They're a social democracy, which is very different than a democratic socialist, which is what this party is in the United States. Okay, let me break this down for everybody that's still listening to me right now. Norway is not a socialist country. They're very capitalist. Their markets are more free than the U.S., some would say. You know what I mean? They just tax, how they pay for all this stuff is they tax the shit out of everybody, and then they pay for like healthcare and school or whatever. And then people will be like, "Oh, why can't we do this in the United States?" I was like, "Well, it's because Norway only has 5 million people. The U.S. has 300 million people of the most diverse people who do not trust the government. Norway, 5 million people, very homogenous. They're all like Norwegian, right? They're very Norwegian. They all look the same. They all kind of believe the same stuff. Low immigration, by the way. They don't let a lot of immigrants in. And they have a high trust society. Like they trust their government. You know what I mean? That they are basically one vote away from rooting their whole country. People, you want to know how Norway's able to pay for all this stuff? Number one, they tax the shit out of everybody, which is fine, which will never happen in the U.S. because half the country don't want any taxes, and the other country want a ton of taxes. So like you can't even vote that in. Right? Like, what are you going to do? The most you could do in the U.S. is like 51% of the people would want higher taxes, and then 49% of the people don't. And then there's going to be like a huge fight. And what are you going to do? Is the 51% going to fucking murder the 49%? Guess what? That's what all the other socialist countries do. They have an authoritarian that just comes and kills everybody for the greater good. So, okay, back to Norway. Let me mansplain this. Let me, a capitalist, explain this to you. This is how Norway pays for everything. Back in the day, they realized they have a bunch of oil. Okay? And this is where it's different than any other country that failed. For other countries like Venezuela, they got all this oil money and then they just start building shit in the country, just spending a lot of money, giving people like free shit. And then when this price of oil falls, like everything is fucked up because all they do is rely on this oil money. Norway did it differently. They took all that oil money and they invested in worldwide stocks. And guess what? A majority of that is U.S. stocks. So they put all the money they made in oil, put it into U.S. stocks. And then they didn't destroy their own industry within their own country, right? Because other countries would have all this oil money, and then they would just hire people to work in the oil industry, and then they start giving out free shit, and then they start hiring more and more government workers. And there was some of that in like Norway, right? They had to hire government workers for the education system, for the health system, but mostly they like try to keep all their industries intact, right? They invest all their money into the stock market, and here's the kicker: everybody in the country agreed to only spend 3% of the money they made in the stock market to kind of fund everything else beyond what the taxes couldn't fund. Do you think that would work in the U.S.? No. The minute we have a fund like that, and most countries are like that, the population would vote to basically rate the piggy bank, dude. This is a very important part. Like, Norway has a small population, and they all agreed to only spend 3% of the money they make from their stock investment to take care of the people in their country, because they don't believe, because they're high trust. They're like, okay, we need to take care of generations beyond us. In the U.S., we don't trust each other. We're very suspicious of the government, which it's understandable. They've lied a lot. We're suspicious of other people around us. You know what I mean? So that's why every time when it comes down to the vote for anything, or not even votes, but like small groups will always try to take as much as they can for themselves while screwing out everybody else, right? The Democrats will want to like gain as much power as they want for themselves in the electorate. So does the Republicans. But also even like small groups. Do you guys remember the people that, what are they called? The longshoremen's? They were asking for like a shit ton of, they want to strike, right? And we're fucked without them, and they know that. And then they were asking for a lot of money, which understandable. I'm like, give them this money. But this is the crazy part. They were like, give us all this money, and we also refuse to automate anything from in the ports to kind of protect their jobs, which is crazy, right? They're just asking to benefit themselves, but like really harming the rest of the country. But Norway is different. They pay people a lot of money, but they also automate everything. They automate everything. So they could compete with the rest of the world in their exports, like technology and seafood, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I don't know what else I gotta say, dude. I went on a rant, dude. I feel like I fucking blacked out for like 20 minutes. Anyway, it's good to be back. I need to start interviewing some of my buds again. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.